For our next story, let's go back to 2014. That's when South Korea passed a child welfare law. It said that teachers accused of child abuse would be immediately suspended. On paper, it sounds like a good law, but teachers say parents abused it. They used it to harass teachers, to report them for simply telling a student off. A 23-year-old primary school teacher became the victim of this abuse. In July this year, she was found dead in her classroom. She had died by suicide. The news shook the country. Protests broke out across South Korea. Tens of thousands of teachers took to the streets. They demanded more rights in the classroom. This went on for about 9 weeks. Finally, the government has listened. South Korea has passed a new law, a law to protect school teachers. Our next report tells you more.
In South Korea, this was a scene unlike any other. And since July this year, it's become an all-consuming issue for the country. The East Asian nation is known for its fiercely competitive schools. The society places a lot of weight on its education system. And by proxy, its students and their parents. No matter the school, no matter the family, expectations remain high. But students and parents weren't the only parties under a lot of stress. The teachers too were under pressure. Not because their work itself was impossible, but because the South Korean law didn't protect them. In 2014, the country passed a child welfare law. It dictated that teachers accused of child abuse would be automatically suspended. Teachers say that parents exploited this law. They presented teachers with excessive demands, like favoritism for their children, and they reported teachers for restraining a violent child or telling a pupil off. They say most schools had a culture of malicious complaints. A 23-year-old primary school teacher faced similar abuse. Regular complaints from parents became a source of constant anxiety. And in July, she killed herself. She was found dead inside her classroom. Many parents and students mourned her death.
This is heartbreaking for every citizen in South Korea. How can this happen in the public education field? They studied hard to go to education schools and became teachers because they loved children. Why do they have to die like this in the classroom? Why do people who lead our country say nothing about this?
The teacher's death had a massive impact on her colleagues across the country. This incident outraged them and sparked protests. Tens of thousands of teachers took to the streets. They were seen chanting and holding posters, all demanding one thing, that they get more rights in the classroom.
Unnecessarily heavy workloads disturb class preparations. Teachers are protesting excessive complaints from students and parents, as well as inadequate legal mechanisms and a passive education office and education ministry.
Teachers nationwide protested for 9 weeks, and today they finally won. South Korea has passed a new law. It's called the Teachers' Rights Restoration Bill. It better protects school teachers from complaining parents. Under this legislation, teachers will not be immediately removed following a report of child abuse. Evidence will be required, and there will be further investigation. But that's not all. Financial support will also be made available to teachers fighting lawsuits, and head teachers will have more responsibility to protect their staff. The Korean Federation of Teachers Unions has welcomed this decision, saying it would both protect the right to teach and protect students' right to learn. Though everyone isn't on the same page, some teachers say the new laws don't go far enough. The teachers want the Child Welfare Act amended. They want to improve its very definition, saying that merely disciplining pupils does not count as child abuse. The debate is still ongoing, but one thing is clear. This law may not be perfect, but for South Korean teachers, it's certainly a step forward.